want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack. But then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And, dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally. Because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. It is Monday. Yeah. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all already giving me the alley-oop on certain things that happened over the weekend. We gonna get there. Yeah. What up? Somebody said that they still counting sheep. You were still counting sheep? Let me tell you something, Juan Renee. Never count sheep, only talk to the shepherd. That's my standing. That's what I do. Whenever I can't sleep, I never count sheep. I always talk to the shepherd. That's what I do. Shout out to everybody in the building. I appreciate y'all. I see you, sis, Mr. Lott, ABJ, Treese, Henrique. Woke says morning family. Juan, A Watt, two to Tango, a lost breed, King Manasseh. Everybody, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. for continuing to rock with me. We are in the building. We got a lot to cover today because it is Monday. And so first, I just want to encourage y'all and say that I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for always holding me down. It was an exciting weekend. We got an exciting week coming up. And then I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping. But before we do any housekeeping, let me make sure I acknowledge the early cash appers and super chatters because I never ask y'all, but I always appreciate everybody that support the platform. And so I got to acknowledge you. First, I want to acknowledge Robert Banks. Thank you, Robert Banks, for continuing to hold me down on Cash App. Also, my dog, Mike That Dude. Shout out, Mike That Dude. And then my first early super chat of the week, Cartier82 says, what up, though? Shout out to Cartier82 and everybody that's holding me down. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. It's Monday, June 17th, 2024, year of our Lord. We about to be approaching July. So let me get the early stuff out of the way. First and foremost, I want to give an acknowledgement to the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley. That's 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Phenomenal platform. Make sure you get it. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It's awesome. That's number one. Number two, I dropped the video inside of the Patreon. Let me say that once again. I dropped the video again inside of the Patreon. We about to start letting them go. All right. In addition to the stock club, we letting them Patreon videos fly. All right. It's a little dark outside because it's raining, so we had to turn up the light in order to make sure that we can add value into your lives. And then we got the Patreon videos that is dropping. All right. So Patreon video dropped yesterday morning. Happy Father's Day to y'all. Make sure you go and check that out. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, we did Stock Club last week. I will not be doing Stock Club this week, but I will be dropping another Patreon video this week because it is my anniversary. I'm going to be talking about that shortly. And it's awesome. So if you guys are looking to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, make sure you tap into the Patreon. That link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And when you get there, make sure you tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. Okay? So that's awesome. What else we got going on? We got the Q show tonight, so that's going to be awesome. Yeah, we still doing that. And let me see what else. Oh, my anniversary is this week. So anniversary is June 19th. It will be 20 years married successfully. And I will be shooting over to Mexico. However, the movement don't stop. Nothing ever changes. We already know that we had to get there, so we got to plan accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So we will be doing a Monday show on Thursday and Friday. Okay? So tomorrow, Tuesday, regularly scheduled program, live streaming right here in the studio. Wednesday will be a pre-recorded show, but it is coming on at the same time. So you guys will never be without the content. You guys are still going to wake up. It's going to be like I'm talking to you right now, but it's going to be a premiere instead of a live stream, all right? Why? Because I'm going to be on a plane on the way to wherever it is that I'm going to be over in Mexico, all right? So regularly scheduled program. This week, you will see some switch up when it comes to the Wednesday live stream. I told y'all last week that my last Wednesday live stream was going to be last week. And so you're going to be getting new shows and pre-recorded content this week on the Anton Daniels channel. All right. So I want y'all to take in all of these changes, updates. Nothing's changing. Still live streaming on After Hours on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we also doing a Millionaire Morning Show. We're going to be doing it live from Mexico, though, from the villa or wherever it is that we stand. And pre-recorded show on Wednesday. So nothing changes, no misses, still running it up, still taking care of business, and we on top of things, all right? So that's pretty much the housekeeping. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the show. So the first thing that I want to say is, well, let me back up for a minute. First thing I actually want to say is I dropped a video or I did a live stream last week where I started off the live stream on the Millionaire Morning Show and I said, hey, change is good, change is to come, and we're going to make some changes. We're going to be eliminating some stuff or whatever, so on and so forth, right? So we wound up clipping that up. We dropped it yesterday on Sunday morning. And when I was looking at the feedback, because I like to, get feedback from you guys in order to understand exactly what's going on, what I realized is that the people that are typing in the chat right now, the Classy Beats, the Missy Youngblood City, Mary Elizo, Latrell M, Keisha M, all of that, right? All of my people that I'm used to seeing on a regular basis. You guys understand because you're with me on a regular basis. You see me tapping in and continuing the live stream, and so I give you guys the updates. You follow along, y'all bag chasers, y'all getting into it. We're gonna be linking up at the end of July, our first meetup for the year, and it's gonna be awesome. So you understand what I mean as far as upgrade changes, never stand stagnant, creating content, so on and so forth, right? But then I was looking at the comments and I realized that I also have a lot of fair weather fans, meaning that people that don't necessarily tap in on a regular basis, but they tap in occasionally, some to support, some to hate watch, or whatever. And so some people were like, oh man, you doing this because you losing and all of that. I'm like, you want to eliminate people from your circle because you got snakes? I don't understand that. And some of them were even subscribed to the channel. And so I'm like, man, you subscribing to the channel just to be able to say whatever it is that you want to say on a negative wave? Neither here nor there. Let me give a little bit of an update for those of you that are fair weather fans that may need a little bit more clarification. The only thing that we're eliminating from the platform is the Wednesday night live stream, okay? And the reason that we're removing it is so that we can upgrade and add more productive content. I want to move towards bigger issues. I want to I want to transition the platform into a more professional setting. We still gonna have a Monday night show. We still gonna do after hours, and we still gonna do all of that. And so you're subtracting so that you can add, and it is actually more work to produce bigger and better shows and all of that other type of stuff. But with that being said, two things that I want you to take away from this early morning monologue, so to speak, is first, keep working, keep producing, keep doing the thing that you know is the right thing to do, even if you have naysayers, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, even if it's new, even if you're not familiar with it. Continue to progress, continue to endure. That's where all of the money is. That's where the success is. That's where the greatness is. And never get distracted by the small minority that have the biggest voices. Conversely, on top of that, I want you guys to also to understand that you're going to have to never take shortcuts, never acquiesce over into that silent negative voice, and never do things that's not going to be in your best interest as far as what your long-term results are. I was watching and I was having a conversation with somebody over the weekend, and they were telling me about, actually, it's so funny. I met a guy at the ATM, and then he was telling me about, yeah, man, and they had the YBI boys in Detroit, and these people, and it was all supposed to be like some big time drug dealers in the 70s and 80s and the 60s and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, man, I live right downtown. I'm right there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so, he had rolled up on his scooter or whatever. It's, easier way for you to be able to get around the city and stuff. And so he was an older black guy. And he was bragging to me about how him and his family had a 40-year run when it came to the drug game, even though they weren't the ones that were the biggest highlighted ones. And he didn't know who I was, right? And so he was just kind of just making conversation. And he was a really nice guy, right? And so he had no idea who I was. I never projected myself or said anything that would lead him to have a different disposition as far as saying, yeah, man, I got a YouTube channel or anything like that. As a matter of fact, most of the time when I meet people casually that don't know who I am in the streets, especially in Detroit, I kind of try to downplay myself. And I just want to be regular like everybody. I mean, I am regular like everybody else, but I did do over 90 million views last year across multiple different platforms. So I am the biggest live streamer / content creator inside of Detroit. However, that's just a little humble brag. But however, I'm not trying to project that in front of people in real life. I'm just chilling. I'm enjoying life. I'm going to the ATM or whatever, right? And so he's so busy trying to impress me. And as a matter of fact, I just throw out some random stuff. So he was like, man, you a cool looking dude or whatever, man. Happy Father's Day. And I was like, oh, happy Father's Day to you, but I don't have no kids. I'm like, man, I ain't got no kids. He was like, what? Man, why you ain't got no kids? You need to be out here populating the earth or whatever. And so that's how we started the conversation. So I was acting like I didn't have a kid or whatever. And I just like to play with people when they just automatically wish me happy Father's Day. And I'm like, man, I ain't got no kids. I ain't messing with these chicks out here. And so we laughing or whatever. And he was like, man, listen, man, my family own this and my family own that. And we over here and they renting this from here. And he was telling me about all of these little hood spots. And he was saying that him and his family, and I forgot what the name of the family is. I wouldn't tell you even if it was had a such and such year run, a 40-year run. I mean, we went to jail, we got arrested, we did this and we did that, but we free now. And then my young bull, is that your car over there? And I was like, well, that's not my car, but I'm driving a friend's car. Oh, that's a sweet car over there. I'm like, oh man, I'll let him know that you thought it was sweet. He's like, yeah, man, I got a nephew, just got out of jail. He just got one of them. He said right after he get all of the stuff that he said that he wanted, he gonna go ahead and he gonna go straight and he ain't gonna never get back into the game again. And I was thinking to myself, perpetual victims, people that can't get out the game, people that took a shortcut in life and now they're looking to try to go straight and it's never going to happen because the money is too fast, but the jail time is too long also. And so I'm using that as an example, and it helped me to realize that I made the right decisions in life. I see a lot of real ones, right? I see a lot of people that try to champion their stripes, or even people that haven't been to jail yet, but they took them PPP loans, or even people that's not necessarily doing anything illegal, but they always trying to find a scheme, a flip, or quick money. I can make 100% of my money. I can double, I can flip it, I can triple it, I can do all of this stuff. Nobody actually wants to work anymore. Nobody actually want to stay down. You want everything yesterday. You got to be rich before you 22, 23 years old. You don't want to actually vet for and then look for the person that you're supposed to marry, women and men. And so you hurry up and get to it, and you try to get on these apps, and then you can't really understand why you keep taking trauma into the next relationship and the next relationship. Life is a game of patience, endurance, and then doing the right thing long enough to actually be able to manifest the results. The success is the long game. Success is a long game. It is not an early feeling. It is not something that you get immediately. It is not something that you hurry up and do. Life is a lifetime. It takes 30 years to be 30 years old. It takes 40 years to be 40 years old. It takes 50 years to be 50 years old. And if you're doing life the right way, you'll continue to enjoy it, and it'll be something that you continue to go from growth to growth, from greatness to greatness, from phenomenal to phenomenal. And your purpose won't just be to just get rich. That's why the word of God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. I mean, I know we joke and we entertain a lot on this platform, and we have a lot of conversations, but in reality, I'm giving you the blueprint to think differently so that you'll have a different mindset and make better decisions on a regular basis that long-term manifest the best results. It's not a shortcut. Once you cross that path, you're never going to be able to undo what you saw. Let's say you go into the casino and you get a quick hit. All of a sudden, you think you can do it multiple different times. Now you got a lifetime of suffering because you had this mentality to go into it. You got that quick dopamine hit and you can't get away from it. It's the same thing when it comes to relationships. It's the same thing when it comes to business. It's the same thing when it comes to money. Same thing when it comes to selling drugs. Same thing in life. You don't want to mess yourself up by thinking or trying to get into something and do it so quickly that you can't even enjoy what life has to offer, and the ups and the downs and the woes and the suffering and the greatness and the triumphs that you then have as far as doing things the right way. Don't take no shortcuts. You're going to be tempted, especially in the social media era, especially when it comes to everybody that's out here lying and projecting and acting like they're getting it. And that's why I show the receipts. People get mad at a lot of times because I show the receipts, but I also show you the failures. I also talk about the things that I went through in the past. I also tell y'all that I held it down for the first 10 years and went broke, and then held it down for another 7 to 8 years, and then leveraged that information that I learned when I went broke in order to ultimately get to the space that I am in now. That is more important for me to make sure that I add value into my daughter's life. I'm telling you, bro, listen, before I started doing anything for myself, I made sure that everybody else around me was good. I had to make sure that my daughter's college fund was paid. I had to make sure that my chick was straight, that if anything else happened to me, that they would be able to be straight for the rest of their lives. I had to make sure that my family was taken care of, my employees was taken care of. When we do things, ultimately, we pay everybody first. When we get a check, when you are a business owner, when you a man, when you a leader, you take care of everybody else first, and then you go and get yours. That way, when you go get yours, not only are you comfortable and you don't have to worry about anything, but you can live in bliss. But also on top of that, you ain't got to worry about nobody complaining about you going to get yours because they got theirs first. Everybody is taken care of. It is a blueprint to life. The race isn't given to the swift, but is given to he who endureth to the end. It is not a race. It is a marathon. Life is long. Everybody keeps saying life is short. You got to get it YOLO or whatever. They be messed up, bro. Toe up, no retirement. Everybody got to do a GoFundMe because they was stunting now. They get these high interest rates. They mess up their life. They pay for these crazy arms. Man, that's how all of these banks, all of these entities, that's how the check cashing places all take advantage of people that have that short-term mentality because they know because you're emotional and you're trying to get it quick and you think that you can overcome and you can skip steps in order to become successful. That's how they capitalize off of you. That's why they call it fast food. It's not necessarily good for you, but at the same time, it makes you feel good. It gives you some level of comfort. And so instead of you taking a long way and taking a way that's actually going to be more fruitful for you, and we all make mistakes. None of us is perfect. That's why it's so easy for me to joke and laugh about stuff and use people as an example. I see a lot of y'all be getting upset. I seen a woman, somebody sent me a video of a woman that did a reaction video to me because I was talking about big backs. I did a segment where Atlanta's water crisis and the streets and the pavement and the infrastructure is crumbling. And then I was talking about Meg Thee Stallion canceling her concert there. And I was saying that when Meg Thee Stallion came here, that it was a whole lot of big backs. Everybody get these jokes. I don't listen. Y'all joke on me. We laugh about it. I'm a joke on you. If you want to be a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion club, then that means that you're going to get these jokes just like everybody else. We don't spare people. We don't spare feelings. If you feeling some type of way about it, then lose weight. If you don't want nobody to talk about how big your back is, then lose weight. Especially if it's something that's controllable. We talk about girls with big foreheads. We talk about guys that be being stupid. We make examples out of them, all of that. So all I'm really telling you is to enjoy life. Enjoy the ups and the downs and the growth that comes along with life. And then at the same time, don't take no shortcuts because it's much more fruitful to do it the right way. All right? That's y'all Monday sermon, y'all Monday monologue. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me look at a couple more super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get started throughout the day. All right? Jason Hairston says, happy belated Father's Day to all. And when I say all dads, stepdads, and soon to be's holding it down. Them stepdads, they got a heck of a job on their hands. They doing the dirty work that ain't nobody else gonna do. Larry Summers says, I'm having the same issue with some of my partners. I told them what we're invested in can retire in 7 to 10 years, and they asked me about options. Getting rich slow is the Munger Buffett way. Facts. Listen, this is why I like to go solo. Even when I do my live streams, even when I do the Patreon videos, people be like, hey, can you invest some money? No, because I don't know who you are. I don't know what your mindset is. And I'm not trying to mess with nobody else's money. I invest my own money. I show the receipts. And then I tell you what it is that I did in order for you to be able to make an informed decision. So you may have to cut bait, big dog. You might have to make some adjustments from the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Because if they don't have the same mentality and mindset long term that you have, then you're never going to be able to be fruitful. All right? Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get to it. All right? First things first. Trump was in Detroit and Biden was at a fundraiser with Obama. Every 4 years, we start to see Obama pop out. Every 4 years, we start to see Obama pop out. All right? So let me bring you guys up to speed of what's happening in these streets. I had got a phone call from my homeboy. And he was like, hey, man, did you know that Trump is going to be in the city? I said, man, Trump been in the city. Trump be here, it seemed like every other weekend. And I don't know, because I could see the motorcades a lot of time. And I'm like, man, who is that in this presidential looking motorcade? And I'm like, Biden ain't here. Oh, that's Trump. He had a whole boat parade. Candace Owens, Vivek, and all of them was at Cobo Hall. Or not Cobo Hall. Us in Detroit call it Cobo. It's called Huntington. He wound up going and doing a lot of stuff. And so he came out to the hood and all of that. Trump popped out. And then also Biden had a fundraiser where he was raising money, and then he had Obama. And this is all leading up to the presidential debate supposedly happening in July. So we'll see how that happens. But let me just give you guys an update on what's going on, and then we're going to go from there.
We've done more for, and I say this, I say it proudly, more for the black population than any president since Abraham Lincoln. That's a big statement. And crooked Joe Biden has done nothing for you except talk. It's only talk. He's been the worst president for black people. Under Biden, real wages for African-American workers are down 6%. We lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty. Black Americans saw their largest increase in home ownership on record.
Former President Trump slamming Biden's record with black voters in Detroit as the two candidates are neck and neck in the key swing state. Our next.
Do you, as we evaluate and we have an honest conversation, I was in the bank. I went into the bank on Saturday morning because my bank is open from like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on my way out the bank, I seen an older gentleman. He was probably like 70 or so. He was like, yeah, he here this weekend. And I said, who here this weekend? He said, Trump here this weekend. I can't take these traitors voting for Trump. And I was like, oh, man, I can't wait to vote for Trump. Where is he going to be at? I can't wait to go and support. And he just looked so disappointed. Older black man, older black gentleman. He looked so disappointed. He said, I guess everybody got the right to their opinion. I was like, yeah, man, and God bless you, man, but I can't wait to vote for Trump in this election. I got to mobilize my guys. So, I was trolling a little bit in real life. And then my homeboy that had called me and said that Trump was in town, he's like, Anton, he had texted me, he said, Anton, what is it that I should ask? Because I guess that they vet the questions and they were saying that he was going to be able to ask a question. So what is it that I should be able to ask? What should I ask in this upcoming election? And I was like, oh man, I hadn't thought about it. So I was like, yeah, maybe you should ask about the money that's going over Ukraine or whatever like that. Because other people going to ask about businesses, inflation, Biden, all of this stuff. Ask about this. And so we was kind of vetting out the question that he might ask. And then he said, man, I was at this particular event because he's a part of a delegation and a group of people that mobilize voters and stuff like that. He said, man, I was telling him, he said, we need to focus on people under the age of 55. I was like, that might be under the age of 49. Actually, he was like, yeah, you're right. He said, man, because people over the age of 55, they stuck in their ways. They not changing. They not going to evolve. They not even going to possibly listen to the issue. They so used to doing things a certain way. They just stuck in their ways. We don't even want to waste our energy on these people. We only want to focus on this demographic of people. People under the age of 55 and above the age of 24. Because young people, they're going to do whatever it is they want to do. They don't even pop out at the polls anyway. And so when we evaluate this, I want you guys to ask yourself the question, do you believe that you as an individual, doesn't matter what color you are, because we rock with everybody, not based off of the color of their skin, but based off of the content of their character, and I'm assuming that's why you're here. Do you believe that you have done better this 4 years, 2020 through 2024, than you did 2016 through 2020? Do you believe, what up, Bitcoin Brown? Do you believe that you are doing better 2020 through 2024 than you did 2016 through 2020? Just a question.
Next guest joins us live from Detroit, where he spent a few hours with Trump at yesterday's event. It's Michigan Congressman John James, who joins us now. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me back on.
You bet. You hear Trump's message to the black voter. We see some polling suggests he's really starting to resonate to some extent with the black voter. What do you think about that in Detroit as a possible effect for the way we see Michigan go in November?
And look, in 2016, Donald Trump came into Detroit and asked black Detroiters what we had to lose. 8 years later, Joe Biden has shown us. President Trump came back to the hood with the receipts. He went back in. He talked about rising crime. He talked about rising interest rates. He talked about rising inflation. All things that hurt black Americans the most, hurt all Americans, but hurt black Americans the most. And Pastor Sewell, I think, made a very appropriate point that President Trump was in the neighborhoods. Joe Biden goes to a big special dinner at the NAACP, and I'm not even sure President Obama even visited the neighborhoods in Detroit. But
Yeah.
President Trump once again is showing up. Republicans are showing up, not just with FaceTime, but with better policies than the Democrats.
Well, this is what you're.
Here's the thing. I will be objective in saying this. And Maria Lovely, you so cute. I will be objective in saying this. I don't think that these politicians should be going to these churches. That aggravates me. I don't care if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, and I'm not going to switch it up just because Trump was here, right? I do resonate with his message, and I think that he's the best candidate currently for me. You got to vote based off of your own values, look and research and understand the policies. You have two different candidates that you can evaluate as far as a 4-year span of when one was in the presidency and the other was in the presidency. So you got to make the decision for you. But I'm going to keep the same energy across the board. I didn't like it and I don't like it when I see Biden or any of these politicians, nationally, locally, or whatever, popping out at these churches. I don't think that we should be mobilizing a church or having conversations of politics inside of the church to try to influence people to vote a certain way. That's number one. And I don't think that we should do it no matter what side of the aisle that they're on. So I am 100% against that.
You're referring to Lorenzo Sewell, the senior pastor at 180 Church, said this about Obama and Biden.
President Trump, I'm so humbled that you would be here. President Obama never came to the hood, so to speak, right?
He
President
wasn't a hood.
Joe Biden, he went to the big NAACP dinner, but he never came to the hood. So thank you.
You know, the thing is, though, Congressman, on one hand, you see this outrage. On the other, this outreach, you will see a ton of messaging fed to say, in some way or another, yeah, but Republicans are racist.
Well, you know, these are their talking points because Democrats refuse to take accountability for the fact that African Americans have been doing worse decade after decade after decade after the Great Society. Democrats and frankly, have been failing African Americans, but we can't just point the finger at Democrats. Republicans have refused to go into cities and to campuses all over the country. And we have to do what the original Republicans did, march down into where people are being oppressed. Then in the slavery times, it was oppression of the body, physical bondage. Now we have the obligation to go in and have an alternative suggestion, alternative ideas, and give people the opportunity to be free from the mental bondage that Democrats have over. I absolutely believe that if 95% of African Americans continue to vote for one party, then neither party is going to have to work for the vote. In the past, Republicans have ignored the black vote because we don't think we can get it. Democrats have neglected it, but that is changing with President Trump. We are making the case, we are showing up, and people are beginning to take notice. And Donald Trump is tied in the state of Michigan because this is a real race. It's not just about black.
Somebody said, what if your pastor is also a senator? Is it somebody whose pastor is also a senator? No separation of church and state. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that we should be having politicians campaign and look to be influenced or look to have a pastor influence the flock as to how it is that they're supposed to vote. I don't. That has nothing to do with the word of God. The church is supposed to be not only a place where we advocate for the word of God, but also a safe haven for people to be able to get the resources, the support, the help, and then also able to lean on to other people so that they can feel better or get the insight and information and the support that they need in order to live a more fruitful life. It has no bearing. I don't care what it is that y'all say, and this is what I stand on. This is what I personally believe. I don't think that politics and politicians should be having conversations trying to influence what is happening inside of the church. Church business is church business, and politics is politics. It's other places, if people want to see you, that you can go to in order for you to have your rallies, to have your conversations or whatever. But I'm tired of these pastors pandering to these politicians, and I don't care what side of the aisle you on, just for more visibility, or they willing to sell out their flock or sell out the word of God in order to have somebody inside of the church. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I absolutely positively believe that politics needs to be left out as far as politicians campaigning inside of the church. That's just what I stand on.
black and white. It's not even about red and blue. It's about have
Right.
and have nots. And Democrats are making excuses, and Michigan is the center of the universe in 2024.
Really fascinating way to say it, to transition from physical bondage into modern day mental bondage.
Let me pivot for a second. So while Trump was over in Detroit pretty much all weekend, and Candace Owens and Vivek and Turning Point USA and all of these people, Biden, he was over at a fundraiser, at a dinner with Obama, and Obama basically had to lead him out as his handler when Biden froze again. Check it out. Grab him, Mo. Dude is froze. Look at it. What is Biden doing? Why is Obama grabbing Biden's hand in order to lead him out? Why does he always have to have a handler with him every single time that something happens, whether it's a Juneteenth celebration on a White House lawn with all of the zesties, or he's having some kind of campaign and fundraiser, and now we starting to see Obama pop out on a regular basis. We never see Obama pop out. We don't even know where Obama be at. But now Obama is popping out in order to advocate for his friend Joe. But forget all of that. Forget all of that. This is the thing that I'm trying to convey to you guys, for me, right? And again, you need to make your own informed decision, but this is an opinion show. And so we take what it is that we see, and then we try to parse it out in order to understand exactly how it is that we need to move going forward. This is where I stand on the issue. I don't think that this guy has the capacity to be the free leader of the world. He walks like he has dementia. He freezes like he has dementia. He talks like he's forgetting his words. He slurs when he's giving speeches. This guy need to be sitting right next to Bush Jr., right? Second George W. Bush, and just be relaxing. Honestly, he's made enough money. His son is getting convicted. He's probably got a lot of stress on his body. He need to sit down. I don't even know why the Democrats in particular would nominate this guy as the Democratic nominee for this presidential election in 2024. Honest to God, like on everything. It scares me to death to think that we basically are getting possibly somebody who may not even have all of his faculties, and it's a possibility that Kamala Harris. Look, bro, look. One of the things that we also need to take into consideration is if anything was to ever happen, and I mean anything was to ever happen, like a stroke, anything was to ever happen to the President of the United States of America, are you comfortable with whoever it is the vice president or the second in charge taking over the country and leading us forward, especially when you got Russia over there mobilizing in Cuba, you got China, you got BRICS, the whole BRICS system, you got Saudi Arabia, we're going to be covering that this week, Ukraine war, we got a proxy war in Ukraine, we got the Israel-Hamas war, and then we also have the semiconductor chip war that we have over there in Taiwan. And everything that's happening nationally, you got Sudan, you got all of this stuff that's happening all across the board. And inflation is going crazy. Are you telling me that we need Kamala in charge? Heck no. Absolutely not. No way, no how. I am 100% against. Listen. I would even consider it. I would consider all options because I just want to look at the policies. I would consider another Democratic nominee above Joe Biden for age reasons only. Age reasons. What is he, like 87? It's crazy. Anyways, let me read a couple more super chats and then we're going to go over and continue the show. So I just wanted to give you guys a political update to let you know what was happening out here in these streets. All right. Les says, didn't earn it. Shout out to you, Les. I appreciate you. We Call BS News Podcast says, we are getting in writing for our votes regardless of those nuts. We got to stop voting with our emotions and think ahead. That's better said than done for a lot of these other people. Shout out to my girl sister, Mr. AB. I agree. I think the church should help the flock to get registered to vote and advocate voting only. I don't know, sis. I'm kind of against that too. I am. I had this conversation in this debate in person with somebody over the weekend, and it was like, oh man, we need to get these young people registered to vote. And I was like, I agree with the first part as far as the church not participating in the political process. But I don't think people being able to be registered to vote is enough. I don't think that people should register until they're informed voters. I don't want people just voting just because they're exercising their right to vote. I want people to be informed so that they can make the best decision possible on behalf of the nation and on behalf of themselves. I think that we've seen the results of the voter die or hurry up and get everybody registered or bus people to the polls and all of that stuff. A lot of times it just becomes a political agenda of people trying to, influence other people to vote the way that they want them to vote. So I don't want to just register people. I want people to become informed voters. You see what I'm saying? I want them to encourage people to go to the websites, read the policies, vet the candidates, and not try to have an influence on how they vote, but just encourage them to get involved. And then naturally, when you encourage people to get involved, they'll want to participate because they have a vested interest in seeing what's happening. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of my take on it. I think that people need to become more informed before they head to the polls. Forsaken Archive says you should review that what Kari B said about them passing a bill to bring back the draft. I have to look at it. I'll check it out. Tino Ellis says, what's good, Anton? Blessings, brother. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. And then we also dropped the video inside of the Bag Chasers, the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, let's move on. Next thing, y'all, we got to get to it. Pastor, what's up with all of these pastors? I heard it was a black pastor that stepped down. Somebody was telling me about that. Pastor of a Texas church was accused of sexual misconduct. Now, I'm not familiar exactly what would happen yet, but I don't believe in convicting people based off of the court of public opinion, but we got to evaluate every situation for itself. All right? Okay. So let's go ahead and make sure that we look into it. Pastor, you said Tony Evans, Connie? Tony Evans was that pastor that stepped down? Why did Tony Evans step down? We get to it. So pastor is allegedly accused of sexual misconduct. Let's get into it. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Texas, let's see what's happening.
A woman has come forward accusing the pastor of a North Texas megachurch of sexual abuse. Good evening, I'm Blake Hansen. Robert Morris is the founder and senior pastor at Gateway Church in Southlake. A woman has come forward alleging Morris sexually abused her as a child for 4 years, starting in 1982. In response to the allegations, Morris reportedly told the Christian news outlet he engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior. Fox News' Amelia Jones live with more on the accusation.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some stop up in it. Okay, wait. From the 80s, let's take it all in. Whoosa. Woman comes forward, says, yo, pastor was messing around with me from the 80s. Apparently, pastor is a big time known pastor. All right. So now they ask him and they accuse him. He said, I did some sexual misconduct. What? All right. I need to learn more about it. Let's get to it. Hold on.
Amelia.
Blake, the woman who came forward with this allegation of abuse says that it began when she was just 12 years old.
Oh, no. Oh, listen. I don't know what to say about this one. Let's take it all in. Let's take it all in. 12 though, big dog. 12? Listen, it's one thing for a grown woman to come back and say, oh man, nah, this guy did this to me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's one thing. All right. It's like, you wanted it. You was out here in these streets. You had the ability to be able to go to the police and say whatever it is that you want to say. All right. It's another thing when it becomes a minor. I'm like, oh, it get a little different. You know what I'm saying? We got to take a pause, take a breather for a second. All right, y'all. Now, this was the 80s. That was 44 years ago. 40 years ago. So we taking in the information. We're going to make an informed decision, and then we're going to go from there, okay?
She says that she's sharing her story now to encourage other survivors to speak up. Since 2000, when Gateway Church opened its doors, it's grown into one of the largest church communities in the country.
What is the Holy Spirit saying to you?
The megachurch has 9 campuses in Texas, one in Wyoming and another in Missouri.
9 campuses? 9? Okay. Listen, I'm a lover of the word of God, but let me ask a question. 9? 9 campuses. At what point does church start to become a business instead of it becoming a place where you save souls? And let me be clear, I've never been to Gateway Church, so it's hard for me to be able to criticize it, but 9 campuses?
Every Sunday, a total of 100,000 worshipers attend services in the churches. Earlier this month, the church's founder, Pastor Robert Morris, was accused of sexually abusing a child in the 1980s. The now 54-year-old woman, who we're not publicly naming, says the alleged abuse began when she was 12 years old and lasted for 4.5 years.
Most survivors come forward between the ages of 50 and 70.
Melanie Sakota works with the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, or SNAP. She says many survivors come forward to prevent what happened to them from happening to somebody else.
And I think the fact that Robert Morris is still in ministry is an incentive to come forward, because what happened to her when she was young needs to be known.
The woman spoke with an online Christian publication, The Christian Post, and confirmed to Fox 4 the information she provided is correct. The woman says the abuse started when Morris was preaching at a local church in Oklahoma and was a guest at her home along with his wife and young child.
Oh, no, this is getting worse. How old is Robert Morris? Robert Morris. Age 62. So if he was 62, and let's just subtract 40 years, that mean that he would be 22? 22 messing? Nah, that's not a good look, big dog. That one is not a good look.
By the time she was 17 and told her parents what was happening, Morris was the pastor at Shady Grove Church, which is now the Gateway Church campus in Grand Prairie. Sakota says the abuse should have been reported to law enforcement, and it's unclear if it ever was.
First, report to law enforcement, because the best investigations of these types of crimes are done by secular authorities, not by the church itself.
According to the Christian Post article, the Gateway Church says after these allegations were brought to light 35 years ago, Pastor Morris stepped away from ministry for 2 years to receive counseling. The article has a statement from Pastor Morris that says in part, quote, "When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady where I was staying. It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong."
I don't really know. Oh, this is so bad. Let me hear the rest of the story.
According to the woman's account from the same article, it was more than kissing and petting.
He called her a young lady. He didn't acknowledge that she was 12. He said it was, as I recall, a moral failing. This isn't a moral failing.
The woman declined to do an interview with Fox 4, but her attorney sent a statement on her behalf. It says in part, quote, "For decades, churches have ignored her disclosures while embracing, promoting, and endorsing this reported sexual offender as a man of God."
All right. First things first is that the parents is at fault here. Let me say that. The parents are at fault. Her parents need to be held accountable. Because if she told her parents, and the only thing that the parents did was go to the church, but the parents didn't actually report it to the authorities, the parents who are responsible for protecting the child, who probably should have never left the child in the hands of the pastor in the first place by themselves, I don't care who they are, my child is not going to be hanging out with somebody else's pastor by themselves. The minute that my child tells me that something is popping off, it's going to be some furniture moving. It's going to be some, everything is going to be happening. And the police is going to be required to get involved because they're going to want to know why it is that I was out there pistol whipping somebody's pastor. So, for me, the parents is required to be held accountable just as much as the pastor, because obviously she's telling the truth, because they got paperwork from back in the day, 35, 40 years ago, that's basically saying, yeah, this is what happened. This is how it played out. He had to step away from the church. He talking about it was just kissing and petting. Man, you was a grown man with a child and a wife, and you was out here babysitting talking about the young lady. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all better stop pedestalizing these people. You will know them by their fruits. Could he have changed? Possibly. Does it mean that he doesn't have to be held accountable for the things that he's done in the past? 100% he needs to be held accountable for the stuff he does in the past. And it's very difficult. And I always say that your image is something that you can't get back. So it's one thing for people to say a bunch of stuff about you that's a rumor. It's another thing for it to actually be true. So the parents need to be held just as accountable as him.
The statement goes on to say she hopes this encourages other survivors to speak up.
Don't suffer alone and in silence. There are people that will believe you and support you. You just need to find the right people.
Let me look at this other news report and see if we can mine out anything else from this.
The pastor of one of DFW's largest churches is responding to allegations that he molested a...
Facts, common man, 80. What is a... Listen, and this is another problem. This is another problem. 100%. How do we have pastors? I don't care if it was even in the 80s. How do we have pastors? How do we have pastors that's in their 20s? I never understand. I don't care if you're the junior pastor. I don't care if you're the pastor of the young ministry. I don't care what it is. I don't understand this whole pastoring in your 20s. I don't understand how you can be a life coach in your 20s. I don't understand how you can be a pastor in your 20s. How can you groom somebody to be a pastor when the word itself says that he picks pastors after his own heart? I'll be seeing people automatically anointing their kids and their son. Oh, my son is going to take over the church. Oh, your son is going to take over your business. That's what it is. And so we've perverted the word of God to where people that actually stand on what it means to be a Christian are now looked at as lepers, or they're not given the level of respect as far as what it is that they stand for in the word, because we got the people that's the most visible looking at the word of God or looking at churches as a business. How are y'all ever going to pick a pastor based off of the fact that he's only 20? You automatically disqualify. You don't even know nothing about life. How you going to minister to a flock and you still trying to figure out life yourself? How you going to be 22 years old at minimum, 22, a pastor, and your brain ain't even fully developed yet? That makes no sense for it whatsoever. It's wild to me.
A 12-year-old in the 1980s. Robert Morris, who preaches at Gateway Church in Southlake, admits he engaged in inappropriate...
And no, you have it all wrong, Dan, so you need to do real research again.
sexual behavior, but the pastor says he was transparent, sought forgiveness and counseling before returning to the pulpit. Tonight, Matt Houston spoke to the accuser for the very first time.
And age does matter.
Cindy Clemishire read from Genesis Sunday.
As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today.
That's the 54-year-old's
Shout out to Ash.
that her story would bring about some good. She accuses Gateway Church pastor Robert Morris of molesting her from 1982 to 1987.
I was born in 1982, fam.
The first time, she says, she was 12. Morris, a family friend, was in his early 20s, already married, already preaching.
The story is gut-wrenching when I read it on paper, and I've been sharing for years. So it just happens to be God's time, I think, for it to come to light.
In a statement, Morris admits to inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady, though he did not reference her age. It was kissing and petting, he said, and not intercourse, but it was wrong.
This is wild, bro. This is absolutely wild. 1,000% wild, bro. This is insane, man.
1987.
It's funny because if you look at Keywan, look at Keywan's comment. Keywan says, King David, Khan, Columbus, MLK were all in their 20s when they did great things. Don't you know that all of these people did some really, really messed up stuff? I would say the F word, but you know what I'm saying? This is a Millionaire Morning Show. We got a whole nother bag over here. Don't you know that every last one of these people that you literally named was not even ready for the thing that it is that they was taking on, and it's one of the reasons why their legacy is being questioned right now? Every last one of these people had question marks around themselves. Y'all not really catching the message. Y'all not catching the message.
Evan Clemishire says she told a family friend who told her to
What
tell
was
her
you
parents.
He didn't come forward and confess. He was turned in. And when someone's turned in, what are they sorry for? Are they sorry because they got caught, or are they truly repentant of what they did?
That's why she takes issue with Gateway Church elders who say Morris followed proper biblical steps and a lengthy restoration process. She says her family forgave Morris, but never gave him their blessing to preach again. Morris claims they did.
I think that leaders can get caught up in feeling like it's our responsibility to protect God, and it's not. Their responsibility is to protect the people.
Gateway Church elders say since the resolution of this 35-year-old matter, there have been no other moral failures. Pastor Robert has walked in purity and has placed accountability measures and people in his life. The matter's been properly disclosed to church leadership.
That's Old Testament verse. Let me show you a New Testament verse.
Morris.
Yeah, I think that once you admit to doing something that's egregious, you kind of lose the reputation of the people. You can advocate for God, but at the same time, you got to do it on your own. And I don't really know what the accountability measures is to be taking place, because like, I don't even know if like what statute of limitations, like this is not something that you usually research. You know what I'm saying? Like if this is something that you're not familiar with, then this is not something that you research. So how do you reconcile for this? What is the lengthy restoration process? And again, I'm still trying to understand, why wouldn't the parents go to the authorities on behalf of their kid? You telling me your kid told you after 5 years somebody been touching on them since they was 12 years old, and all you gonna do was go to the church ministry? Man, that's crazy. Anyways, again, make sure y'all be very mindful of the people that y'all surround yourself with, because it can go that other way. Protect your kids, man. Protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Mr. AD, you're right. Your approach is better. It makes it, aw, sister, you're so sweet. Thank you, baby. David Williams says, what if they want Biden in to knock him off and install Kamala, and then boom, there's your first woman president? It could happen. It could absolutely happen, 100%. The dude looks like he's ancient right now. He doesn't even move right. And then he got his new Skechers and all of that stuff. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Thank you to everybody that continues to support the platform. All right, y'all, let's get into the second half of the show. Let's talk about California, because this is leading into my conversation about Austin, right? Because for whatever reason, I've overlooked Austin. But you guys sent me a lot of information. And then on top of that, it's almost like I feel like it's divine that I'm supposed to talk about Austin today. But before we talk about Austin, we got to understand why people are leaving the place that they're going. And we also got to have a conversation about the fact that Texans have been telling the people over in California, don't turn our Texas into the place that you came from. But Austin has largely become a liberal hellhole. At least that's what the people are saying. I don't know. I'm going to evaluate it just like you guys. But at the same time, we need to understand exactly what they're running away from. What are you running away from over there in California? San Francisco, Los Angeles, Oakland. What are the people running away? Why don't you guys want to stay in a place that you voted for? This is your space. Why you ain't fighting for the place that see, we never left Detroit. Now that Detroit is evolving and it's turned the corner and is doing absolutely awesome, we're excited to still be here. And you know what's so funny? A lot of the people that originally was from the city and they left the city and it was like, forget this, I'm going down to Atlanta and tear Atlanta up. We about to head over to Houston. Now they're like, you know what? My heart was still with the city. Like, no, it wasn't. We never left. We never left Michigan. We never left Detroit. We never left Metro Detroit. We always kept our dollars here. We advocated for it. We stood for it. And so when everybody was saying that it's the worst place ever, we made it our headquarters. And we buckled down and we dedicated ourselves and all of that. And so I'm trying to figure out, why don't the people want to stay in LA? Why don't the people want to stay in Oakland? Why do people not staying in California? Why do people not staying in Sacramento? Why do people not staying in San Francisco? Listen, it don't matter that you priced out. Deal with it. Figure it out. All right? But anyways, here's an example of what's going on in LA over the weekend.
Police in South LA are looking for more suspects in a raid at an auto parts store. Dozens of people ransacked the place, but authorities did manage to catch one. KTLA's Gene Kang at the scene this morning with the latest. Gene, good morning.
Good morning, Megan. There are many moving parts, you could say, in this story. Detectives just left the scene. They were here for hours. They were fingerprinting and, of course, gathering other evidence. There is security video that they were looking at to try and identify who those dozens of people were accused of being in that mob and then also forcing their way into this AutoZone store in South Los Angeles. Just a lot of devastation that the employees have to clean up this morning. Watch this. So much chaos. Police report about 50 people broke into the store earlier this morning. They ransacked the place, causing mayhem, accused of stealing all.
Y'all realize that these people are not even running? That they don't even fear authorities. They don't even fear police. They not even tripping. They just slow motion, just strolling, just having a good time and chilling. These people are waiting in line to loot AutoZone. They are in a single file line to commit crime. This is the most insane thing that I've seen. Look at this.
Earlier this morning, they ransacked the place.
Look at the girl. She ain't got no mask on. Everybody got hoodies on because they just don't want to be identified by the cameras because they know that y'all going to be out there in order to show it.
Causing mayhem, accused of stealing
he leaving the door open. Homie left the door open.
Ransacked the place, causing mayhem, accused of stealing auto parts and then taking off. By the time officers arrived, the large group had scattered, making it very difficult to apprehend anyone on the spot. Then there's this video. Around 3:50 a.m., LAPD received 911 calls about a street takeover very close by. That was Century Boulevard and Hoover Street here in South Los Angeles. Officers quickly called for backup as the situation escalated. Now, we don't have video of the next incident, but officers tell us one driver refused to stop for police, leading to a brief but intense pursuit. CHP got involved at one point. The pursuit ended up in El Segundo.
Taking back in that antifreeze. Stealing everything but a job application.
Where it was by Pepper Street and Sycamore Avenue. One suspect was finally arrested. And then there's this new video. Police are dusting the front door of the AutoZone for fingerprints while they try to identify people by looking over their surveillance video of that burglary. We spoke to a
This is such a waste of time.
former employee who says he saw the street takeover and dozens of people snatch whatever they possibly could from the store, possibly thousands of dollars in merchandise, plus residents nearby who say it's unsafe here with criminal activity on the rise.
But this time it was more hectic. You know, they were taking over. They're like, man, like, I couldn't exactly what they're saying, but I just seen a whole bunch of people started rushing in there and just.
He probably was right there along with him. Listen, man, arrest him. Book him, Dano. Got the weed shirt on with the watermelon on it. Got CarQuest. Man, this dude was probably right there. You know that criminals like to revisit the site that they already done had or did criminal activity at. I don't trust him. I believe that he was right there with everybody else. He looked like that big guy that was opening up the door and leaving it up. He just had a hoodie on.
Started breaking in and taking a whole bunch of stuff, you know, and it was just crazy.
And the street takeover right here is ridiculous, man. Like every 2 days, it's an accident right here.
But this my AutoZone. This my hood. This my area. I live in this area, so I frequent this AutoZone.
And what goes through your head when you hear it's ransacked and there's a large mob?
Man, it's just crazy. It seems like it's just getting worse.
Well, as you see, there are many cars in the parking lot of this AutoZone, and these are all store employees. Now, they cannot go on camera, but they did tell me that they were terrified when that happened. Detectives now looking into who that huge group was. There are many people from other AutoZone stores coming in, including district and regional managers. But that is the very latest here from the scene in South Los Angeles. I'm Gene Kang, and I'm going to send it back to you.
This dude got on more makeup. And I know that y'all don't want me to focus on the other context clues, but I'm not a news reporter. I am reporting about and reacting to the news. And I'm giving my informed opinion on what's going on. And this guy looks like, he could be AI. He could literally be an AI character. Look at his guys. Look at his eyebrows. He don't got no mustache. He got his lip liner on. But you didn't think that the Asians were supposed to get this work? Everybody get this work on A Millionaire Morning Show. Look at this guy. Jesus Christ. Face beat to death. Anyways, not to be outdone. And so he got a Snapchat filter on. Facts. But anyways, not to be outdone. It's not just the lowly people that's a part of the neighborhoods that's suffering, especially as far as inflation on, and as far as crime is going on also. But in addition to that, even celebrities are selling their houses at millions of dollars of losses in order to get the heck out of California and Los Angeles. Like Ben Simmons, for example.
Joining me now is entertainment and royal reporter Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, NBA player Ben Simmons has copped a big loss on his multi-million-dollar mansion in California. He bought his Hidden Hills house for $26.8 million in 2021. We're using Australian figures here. A year later, he listed it for $34.8 million. That's US $23 million. There was zero interest. And he's finally now completed the sale for $18.3 million, Kinsey. That's a loss of more than $8 million at a time when property prices are going up. How did he make?
Listen. When you got celebrities taking eight That's unreasonable. To take a $8 million loss. You willing to take a $8 million L just to, and that's not even including the real estate fees that come along with selling a property. You willing to take an $8 million loss just to get out of California? That's crazy. The people that are they getting the heck out of Dodge. They don't want to be able to be, they don't even want to be in there. $8 million L?
Manage this.
Well, I mean, I think we might delve into it more when we talk about Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, but I think that no one wants to live here. I mean, LA's pretty lax when it comes to crime. In 2022, we had 397 murders. That was up almost 12% from the previous year, a 53% increase pre-pandemic. This year, violent crime is up almost 3% compared to March 2023. Robberies have increased 9.5%. Rita, it is so bad that the stores plaster large security images of their shoplifters on the storefronts. So trying to humiliate and stop people from shoplifting. I mean, everybody's moving to Austin and Nashville, which I know I saw you visit some of those places recently over the last year. So I just think
You did not miss the Austin segment. It's coming up shortly.
Everybody's fleeing and no one wants to live here anymore.
Yeah, the LA Times had an article 4 years ago about, the numbers fleeing California. They're all lower socioeconomic people. Rich people are actually moving to California. And then they ran a story 4 years later, a few months ago, saying how the rich were now fleeing California. And obviously the crime rate and the high state taxes would have a lot to do with that.
What up, Quinn? What's up, big dog? I hope you're enjoying yourself out there running them bikes. Ying, 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 ying. Shout out to Quentin. But somebody said to me in the chat, Jeff says, shout out to Jeff. Jeff says, Anton, they talking about Gavin Newsom being president now. I will take an incompetent Biden over Gavin Newsom. Listen, I will take Kamala Harris over Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is the worst. He was the mayor of San Francisco, ran it into the ground. Then he became the governor of California, ran it into the ground. I mean, into the ground, boy. Even California has a deficit. They have a deficit. How do you have a deficit in California? How can you be that incompetent to where you literally run the whole city into the ground? Listen, there is nobody. I will take a female president over Gavin Newsom. I will take anybody. Boy, give me George Bush II again. Give me who? Anybody. Adrian Broner. I don't care who it is. Give me Stormy Daniels. Anybody but Gavin Newsom. I will take Tiffany Henyard. I will take Lori Lightfoot. Give me Brandon Johnson. I'll take Umar Johnson as president of the United States of America over Gavin Newsom. There was never. There is nobody over Gavin Newsom. I am disappointed in people over there in California for even feeling comfortable enough to have Gavin Newsom in office, and then y'all reelected him. I will take Billy Porter, Kim Kardashian, Ray J, anybody. Give me anybody but Gavin Newsom. There could not be anybody worse than Gavin Newsom as president of the United States of America. No way, no how at all. Please, Jesus, in Jesus' name. Listen, I'm cool with y'all. In California suffering and ruining an entire nation and being okay with the fact of immigration and having y'all state running at a deficit. But Lord, rebuke the devil. Rebuke the devil in Jesus' name. Don't ever let Gavin Newsom run for president of the United States of America. Because I know some of y'all just going to vote blue no matter what. Anyways, let's move on with the show. What do we got here coming up? Okay, Austin. This is the mayor of Austin, and his name is Robert Morris. Oh, no, not Robert Morris. Robert Morris was the religious leader. Let's see. Mayor of Austin. Kirk. His name is Kirk. Kirk Preston Watson. Kirk Watson is the mayor of Austin and has been immersed in public policy in both the local and state and local government in the state government in Texas for over 3 decades. He was an American attorney and politician who has served as the 59th mayor of Austin, Texas since 2023, previously holding office as the 54th mayor from 97 to 2001. So he was previously the mayor. He's 66 years old. He's a Democratic mayor. His spouse is Liz. He's from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and he is currently the mayor of Austin. If we got anybody inside of Austin in the chat, let me give a round of applause. They say that Austin is San Francisco, LA South. Austin is it's Los Angeles and San Francisco South. All right, so I said, all right, well, let me put Austin inside of my YouTube algorithm and do a little bit of search, and I'm going to just pick up the first thing that I can find. And the first thing that popped up, the very first thing that popped up when I put Austin inside of the algorithm is 2 people shot and killed at a Juneteenth event outside of Austin. And so I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I'm going to be rickrolled, but let's just go with it.
And sadly, there was another mass shooting overnight. This one in.
Hey, you kind of cute. I ain't even gonna front. You kind of cute. The name, Joe, I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. Thank you for contributing into the platform. She got her baby hairs. They look like real baby hairs and everything. Listen, we gotta show love to the news anchors and the ladies that's out here holding it down on these platforms.
In Texas during a Juneteenth event. ABC's Melissa Adon is here now with those details. Melissa, good morning to you.
And Janae, good morning to you. Such devastation over at a Juneteenth celebration. This one happening in Round Rock, Texas. That's just outside of Austin. This is where officials say 2 people were killed, 6 hospitalized, including 2 children. Now, overnight, this is what we're learning from police. They're sharing that a deadly fight broke out. Police alleging that at least 1 suspect took out a gun and fired. Police say multiple victims were then struck by gunfire, including bystanders. Now, 2 people dying from their wounds. The shooting happening at the Old Settlers Park near the concert stage. This was with a packed crowd where the community of Round Rock, Texas was actually hosting their 2nd annual Juneteenth celebration. Now, at this point of the investigation, it is early on, and police just do not know how many shooters were there because all of those suspects at this point are at large. But this morning, we're talking about those 6 people that are hospitalized. Officials there saying that they're all facing possible serious injuries, including those 2 children.
So, at least 2 people killed, multiple different children, others injured at a Juneteenth celebration over in Austin. I said, wait a minute. They've been covering up Austin. They've been trying to keep Austin off of the radar, and they try not to say nothing. Now, one of the things that incentivized me to start looking at Austin is because people kept sending me stuff from Instagram and TikTok. And then when I would go in and I like to read the comments because I just want to see what the context is from a lot of these places. When I go in and I read the comments, I'm like, So basically everybody is including or they're incentivizing or they're pushing for everybody to move to Austin, Texas. Everybody is pushing for people to move to Austin, Texas, but they're actually pushing them from a certain place. Shout out to Self-Made Forever. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. They're pushing them from California. So I've seen so many little lily white girls, 25, 26, 27, 28. Oh my God, the dating scene is awesome in Austin, Texas. Or the dating scene is kind of just like LA, but then it may be because everybody that was from LA is moving to Austin, Texas. So it's almost like everybody is moving from, when they move, they don't go to Houston per se. And they're not going to Dallas necessarily. Sometimes they'll consider it. But their preference is to move to Austin. This content creator's name is John Williams. This is John Williams. And so this was the second thing that popped up in my algorithm as far as what Austin, Texas is. All right, so let's go through what his assessment is, and then we're going to try to make an informed decision. And y'all let me know if I need to be covering more Austin, Texas content to understand whether or not y'all turning Texas blue.
Hey, what's up, guys? John here.
Shout out to Craig G. I'm going to read that super chat shortly, my friend. I appreciate you.
Signs are peppered all throughout the outskirts of Austin. Sold, sold, sold. Lennar, D.R. Horton, a lot of these big home builders, and I'm going to walk and talk and show you exactly what's going on. It is shocking. It looks like there are maybe 2-3 million housing units or homes under construction or completed.
Sounds like a bubble to me. Sounds like a bubble to me. You know what happens when you start to build all of these houses at the same time a lot of times? Because you're anticipating people all moving there. And these home builders, they smart. And so they know y'all gonna go over there and spend money. And so they're gonna get 200 to 300% on their money because they mass producing these homes. And I even talked about this inside of the Patreon, the difference between a big home builder like Lennar or Pulte Homes or something like that versus actually having your own architect or your own contractor and handpicking things and then do it the slow way. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description. I just dropped the video with regard to real estate and property ownership, and I took y'all through what is almost a finished project of my first build, 100% out of pocket, no financing. Make sure y'all tap into that. But when you're talking about building 2 to 3 million units, you know that everybody is moving down to Austin from California because that's the only place that they can come from. There is no mass movement from any other state except for California and Texas. You got some people from New York, but a lot of times New Yorkers, they still keep a place over in New York. I don't know what it is about, having a place in a rat-infested area that has a lot of roaches. But for whatever reason, people love staying in New York that's originally from New York. They always go back. They always keep a place there. The people from California, it's almost like they was never really there in the first place, right? So they got to be coming from California. And them homes are absolutely trash in my opinion. And they cookie cutter. They all look the same. None of them have no character. None of them stand out from the other one. But neither here nor there. Let's continue to see what it is that he got to say.
To me, it looks like we're walking into one of the biggest bubbles in history inside of Austin. The reason for it is Austin was predominantly built based on the 2020 situation. People were leaving LA, they were leaving San Francisco, they were leaving New York City.
Austin, new construction everywhere. A national survey showing it's the most popular place for Americans to move during the
and they were looking for a place in which they could reduce their tax base, have a little bit more freedom and flexibility, and looking for a place in which they could kind of live a normal life. And so everybody went to Austin. And now, it's gone through a big change because the home builders essentially took over that opportunity. And now what's happening is these home builders.
Look at that cookie cutter place. Cookie cutter. Y'all know they be using local contractors to do a lot of that stuff, and then they nickel and dime the local contractors. I can't wait to break down exactly all of the things that I've learned. Even the contractors was telling me from these large home builders, it was like, Anton, they nickel and dime us, they do us dirty, they be late on our payments and all of this stuff. But this is an industry that I wasn't even familiar with until I started to actually participate in it. But let's continue.
Lennar, D.R. Horton, and others are looking at this saying, you know what? How can we compete against these other, these everyday property owners here? Well, what we can do is we could reduce interest rates, we could reduce our prices, and we could offer incentives. Incentives that homeowners can't really offer. I mean, look at this. Sold.
Cookie cutter place.
Next one, sold. Next one, sold. Sold. It's fascinating because, and look at the size of these homes, by the way. Like this.
Look at that barn. Listen, that ain't nothing but, listen, what you see right there, in my opinion, that's a trailer home. But it's just got a foundation. All they did was remove the wheels, throw some siding on that joint, and then threw a front door on that joint. That is a trailer park home, if you ask me. I don't know. Some of y'all just call it a small home or a mini home or something like that. That does not look like, when y'all go to these places and y'all be like, oh man, I'm about to pay $600,000, $700,000, $500,000, $450,000 for a home. Is this what y'all have in mind when y'all looking to do that?
Used to be an American two-car garage. Now this is a new home, right? And these homes they start in the mid threes, which is pretty affordable, but they go all the way up to $1 million. So inside of Austin, like proper downtown, inside of the center city of Austin.
You know it don't cost them, you know what it's costing them? They paying for the land. They paying to develop the land, that's it. That home right there, and see, I know. See, now I can speak to it because I know exactly what it takes to build a home. Why? Because I built the home from scratch And throughout the entire process, I participated in it. I know exactly what it costs for excavation. I know what the labor is. I know what the lumber is. And I know that Austin is getting cheaper labor and cheaper materials than they doing up north because they got so many immigrants down there in Texas, right? And so I know what the numbers are. I know exactly what it costs to frame a home. I know exactly what it costs to lay a driveway. I know exactly what it does to excavate. I know what the windows cost. I know what the flooring costs. I know what everything as far as insulation, all of that, drywalling at a mass scale. And that home costs nothing. It's not even a 2-story home, fam.
They have 120,000 apartments under construction.
That's
For
crazy.
context, there's only 245,000 renters. So they're bringing forward 50% increased supply. Another one sold inside of the next 24 months. A 50% increase in supply. So think about this if you are a property owner. What does that mean? Well, think about it. If people are going to look at, the cost of rent versus the cost of owning, and they're going to see increased, another one sold, they're going to see increased insurance, increased interest rates to borrow money, and then they're going to look at falling rents. Who are they going to want to do business with?
I think that is going to be a market correction in the real estate market in certain markets. I don't think that it's going to happen. And don't take my word for it. This is just my prediction. I've been right almost every single time in the past with regard to stocks and everything like that. But I think that there's going to be a market correction, not a recession, not a busting of the bubble, not something like the home crisis in 2008, because people can't afford homes. The difference between now and 2008 is that there's not a lot of people putting their homes on the market because people can't afford to move. So if you sell your home today and then you go and move somewhere else and then you got to take out another mortgage, you then have to basically take on a 7% interest rate, whereas you might have got it for 2%, 3%, 4% in the past, or what your current market rate is, right? Because everybody was going through the whole refinancing process during the pandemic, right? But people don't have the ability to be able to move because they're priced out of even being able to take on another mortgage because they can't afford it. And then you start to tack on all these HOA fees on top of it. And so the market is regulating itself in that the interest rates are preventing people from getting out and selling a bunch of homes. Whereas 2008, anybody could have got approved for a home. And basically people couldn't even afford those homes at all. So most people are staying put. However, when you have the difference between then and now is now you have a building crisis, right? It's not just an affordability crisis, it's a building crisis. So the builders have to continue to put out product. And so what they're doing is they're basically going over into these hot markets. Places like California is supporting this whole movement into this bubble. And you got places like Austin and Tampa, especially considering that home insurers are pulling out of California and they also pulling out of Texas because you had a whole bunch of people ran over there. They ran up the prices. Now it's unaffordable. They pushed everybody up north. And so I think that there's going to be a market correction pretty soon. Pretty soon. As long as prices stay high, inflation is high, the Fed can't lower the rates. They're not going to do a rate cut because they can't continue to, or they have to in some way, shape, or form, the only way that they can control inflation, especially since we got like 3 wars going on and we continue to give money overseas, there has to be a market correction because the unaffordability of these places, and who's going to buy them? Who's going to buy them? Somebody is going to have to take a loss. It's going to be a market correction. And then that's where the buying opportunity comes in. And that's why you got to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Be patient, y'all. Patience. The minute that you keep moving based off of the fear of missing out, you jumping into the market, oh man, I got to hurry up and buy the house. Everybody going to buy. You going to get your head cracked. Patience. When the pandemic hit, I stopped buying real estate altogether and I started buying land. I stopped buying homes that were already built. I started purchasing land, and that's when I started to learn how to develop it myself. I'm not going to jump into the mire just because everybody else is doing it. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to learn what I learned. I'm going to make the adjustment. I'm going to pass the information on to the bag chasers and the Patreon members, and then we're going to run it up from there. But this is the time that we start stacking our chips. This is the time where we start to put ourselves in a position to be able to leverage our assets. Why? Because when there's a market correction, that's when you take advantage of people that jumped in and had the fear of missing out because they can't really afford these properties in the first place.
The landlord is going to be able to rent the cheapest, right? Meaning that a lot of this equity that these property owners thought that they had is going to start to get absorbed. It's going to slowly start to contract. And as this equity continues to contract and taxes and insurance go up, and a lot of the job opportunities that people thought were going to be permanent in Austin start to kind of fade away.
More tech companies move out of their offices in the Austin area. Oracle is considering relocating its headquarters from Austin to Nashville, Tennessee.
I think what we could see here is a major, major change. And in this video, I'm going to give you a tour of exactly what's going on so you can form your own opinion. And you'll see very, very clearly what Austin, Texas is going to look like in 2024, 2025, and 2026. Please hit the like button, you people share the content, educate more people about what's really going on in the U.S. economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my car. Click several blocks away.
Again, this is from, his name is, this is John Williams. Make sure y'all support his platform. I like to support all content creators. So if you guys are interested in this platform and you like what it is that he's saying, let him know that Anton from AntonDaniels.com sent you.
Big city blocks, a residential block. You will see another community that's being built. And this community, it looks like it's exclusively apartments. And it looks like it's probably somewhere around 150, maybe 200 units.
Horrible.
And they are breaking ground.
This is what it looks like over
They're almost done.
This is what it looks like over, not in Tampa, but near Tampa, on all of the outskirts of Tampa where they can start to get land. And so they basically tearing down all of the trees and they raising everything so that they can start to build out more of these cookie cutter homes. This is exactly what it looks like. And it's absolutely horrible. It's like, I'm trying to think of a cartoon.
They're basically completed the framing.
Austin and Nashville is
right
becoming
here.
the same thing.
And this property is likely going to be either condos
craziness
or for rent. There's 4 floors, 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. And this is just one community that's inside of this neighborhood. When you cross the road, which I'm going to do for you and show you, you will see there's another, I would call it 1,000 houses, maybe 800 houses that are being built
at that level of growth
right now. So inside of this one community,
are they building schools, libraries? You got to build the infrastructure, sewage, water. How can they sustain this level of growth?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes. An affordability crisis, people that want to live in Austin, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to live outside of Austin and they're going to make the commute. And so the people that are living outside of Austin that are going to make this commute are going to look to save money. And so what are property owners inside of the city of Austin going to do? Well, they are going to try to thin that gap to make it more attractive for them to stay inside of Austin. Just a little bit more expensive to stay in Austin than it would be outside of Austin. But they're going to continue to narrow this gap to try to keep people inside of that city. When you look at townhomes, I'm going to show you the skyline next, and you can see for yourself how much inventory is coming and what this is going to mean for Austin, Texas. On the way to Austin, I drove less than 3 miles, and there's another community that is now being built. It's called the Colony. It looks like
Colony.
Lennar and these big home builders went out and acquired hundreds of thousands of acres all throughout the cities of Houston and Dallas and Austin to build all different types of homes to cater to all different types of buyers. You know, it looks like here would be where the CEOs, executives, wealthy people would live. And then the other condos and those smaller properties are going to be where a lot of the staff live and a lot of the up and comers are going to live. I've never seen this much construction in my entire life, and what's crazy is this pales in comparison to the amount of construction that's actually going on in LA. I mean, look at the community. Look at the poor upkeep. This could be a sign that the home builders could be in trouble. Look at how high that grass is. The house directly next door, it's the same thing. The one right after that one, same exact thing. The one all the way down at the end, same thing. Home builders could be in really big trouble. They could be in really, really, really big trouble all day.
Don't invest in home building companies, y'all. We're going to cover that in the next stock club. Trust me, it's going to be a good one.
Dead grass. I mean, is this a home builder to, in your opinion, to that looks like they have really strong financials, or is this a home builder that looks like they're not going to be able to move this inventory and they're almost quitting? Let's see how many more communities we in the sky.
Look at all
so
of that.
You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, the entire skyline is being redone right now, and this is just one section of the skyline. When I show you a different angle, you can see cranes in the back behind these buildings. You'll realize that these home builders and these condo builders and apartment builders are in such big trouble, and America doesn't realize it just yet. So what these builders do is they borrow or raise money. And a lot of the money in which they borrowed a couple of years ago was at much lower interest rates, and rents were much higher because everybody wanted to be in Austin. There's big job opportunities, it was the place to be. And so now as rents are starting to come down and you're seeing a lot of inventory hit the market and interest rates skyrocket and property tax and insurance skyrocketing, the values of these buildings are falling dramatically. And so as these owners and these investors and these REITs have to refinance these loans over the coming year or two, it's going to be a big issue because rent.
Actually, a lot of what they do is, a lot of these builders, right? What they do is they build these buildings and they finance the whole process. A lot of people may not necessarily be familiar with this, but I'm going to fill you in. And then we're going to move over into the next subject right after we read the super chats. What they like to do is they like to build these buildings, right? And the builder is not necessarily looking to fill the building up necessarily right away, but eventually they want to fill it up to a certain capacity, which then enables them to be able to find a buyer, because there are ready-made buyers that are looking to not necessarily get into the building process of these buildings, but ultimately get into communities that they think are growing, and then they then take over the property. So the builders are incentivized to hurry up and get done with the building, which y'all gonna pay high HOA fees, y'all gonna all run over there, y'all gonna run from California in order to do it, and then you're gonna find it under new management, or it's gonna change owners' hands 2 or 3 times to ultimately find a person who's going to be your landlord, or because a lot of these buildings are not even going to be condos. A lot of these buildings wind up being apartments, but they're going to be your landlord because they're marketing it to larger companies that are basically taking over United States of America real estate. And I don't want to name any of the companies, but y'all can figure it out for yourself and y'all can do your own research. We're going to talk about it inside of the Patreon, especially when we start to evaluate builder stocks in the real estate market. They're basically hurrying up and trying to get these things done at the fastest rate possible in order to minimize the amount of money that they got to finance as far as what it takes in order to build it, and then sell the building off and then make their profit on that end. So when you see, and that ain't even just the big buildings, it's also the apartment buildings. The apartment buildings are very much the same way, and that's why you see a lot of these cookie cutter apartments going up maybe in your city, maybe in the suburbs of your city. If they can find large enough land, people are not building these apartments. These builders are not building these apartments in order to hold on to them. They're building them so that they can eventually offload them onto you, and then you become the person, or not onto you, but into a larger company that you don't really have any kind of understanding of who they are. They hire property managers, and then you got to pay your rent on time, or they're going to put that little sticker on top of your door. So that's basically what it is. But anyways, shout out to... This is John Williams. We appreciate you for the insight and information. Again, if y'all like his channel, go and check it out. We always like to give love over into the content creators. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then I want to share one more thing with y'all before we get up out of here. The name Joe. Shout out to the name Joe, says, showing love to the platform. I appreciate you, Joe. Shout out to my guy, Self-Made Forever, always in the building, says, 80. This Florida car insurance ain't no joke. I went from paying $268 to now $620. Progressive even says, even though I don't have accidents, people in my zip code keep crashing, so now everybody's rates are up. Listen, I told y'all, I warned y'all, home insurance, car insurance is going to explode, even to the point to where they're going to start pulling out of, they've already started pulling out of, California and Florida. They are running. I told y'all well over 2 years ago that Florida was not the market that y'all wanted to invest in, and that I was moving way further up north. And it's gonna be bad out here in these streets. I've been telling y'all, I've been saying it. I'm in DFW. Shout out to DFW. I love my people over in DFW. Says we call Austin mini California. Craig G also says Texas will stay red because 95% of its land is owned by private citizens, meaning the people truly own Texas, not the government. I don't know. They're going to turn it blue, especially when they start redrawing them districts. Ken J says, I worked on the software team for D.R. Horton in 2014 when they were taking over America as the #1 home builder. Some very cutthroat business minds at that company, because it's all about profit. It's not about people. Beat It Up Kool-Aid says, vote blue. Don't listen to Anton. Shout out to you. Jamal Park says, I still don't get what he's talking about. I live here, and I don't see any properties lowering rent. What's he talking about? I'm a C student. All right. Shout out to Jamal Parks. I appreciate y'all. All right. Make sure y'all hit the like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. One more thing before we get up out of here. I just couldn't help myself. No way in the world that I'm going to leave my Chicagoans out of this. But this ain't even a knock on Chicago. This is just something that's happening in Chicago. And I've been seeing this proliferate across my timeline for a while now. And they saying that the iFlip. Do y'all know what iFlip in Chicago is? I don't know what iFlip in Chicago is. And again, this ain't even no smoke for Chicago today. I know that y'all had a whole lot of killings, over 40 killings over the weekend, but we had bigger fish to fry today. And they saying that this iFlip team over in Chicago is out here finessing people in real estate. And I got some lessons for y'all to avoid, how to avoid getting finessed, becoming part of a real estate Ponzi scheme. But let me first look at this and evaluate it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We should be out of here in less than 15 minutes.
Now NBC5 responds, for months, we've been digging into a so-called real estate Ponzi scheme. It's accused of financially decimating dozens of Southside families, and those allegations are detailed in recent lawsuits filed against a home flipping business called iFlip Chicago.
Now, they're accused of luring inexperienced investors into predatory loans, resulting in bankruptcies and a slew of foreclosures across the Woodlawn area. And since our first story aired last month, more alleged victims have contacted PJ Rendawa, showing us the supposed scheme may have an even bigger impact than we first thought.
They promised a path to financial freedom, a shot at building generational wealth.
Yo, listen. That is the most overused term in the sphere today, in the investment space today. You know what? Y'all gotta let this go. Y'all gotta get out of this mindset. I hate hearing people use the same terms that they heard somebody else use, and they have no understanding of it. They don't know why they're using it. They heard somebody else using it. Oh, man. And you know what the term is? Generational wealth. Generational wealth is the biggest term used specifically by black people. Black people love the term generational wealth. They don't address the term generational curses, but they absolutely, when you hear somebody say generational wealth, let your ears perk up, especially if they're a content creator and they selling you on something. The minute that you hear somebody say generational wealth, know that the finesse is coming. Either the finesse is coming, they're using it as a talking point, or they have no clue what they're talking about. Listen, I'm going to put you on a path to financial freedom. And that way you can create generational wealth for your family. Listen, I hate that term more than what do you bring to the table. I hate that term more than modern women. I hate the term generational wealth. It is so overused. More than whatever overused terms that we can, who hurt you? Something like that, right? Generational wealth is the most buzzworthy term that I've heard in order to get people's ears to perk up. Ain't y'all tired of people being unoriginal and not being able to come up with a term? How do y'all keep giving y'all money? Dave Ramsey doesn't ask y'all for money. I don't ask you for money. Nobody asks you for money to invest. Nobody got a fund. Nobody is flipping and quick it. Nobody is doing that at actually getting to the bag. Nobody, and I'm not saying that they're not getting to the bag, because obviously they get into y'all bags, but I mean, it's much different if somebody give you a book or an e-course or something like that, but nobody is investing your money. Listen, I don't need your money to invest it, because I do it myself, and then I show the receipts and then show you how I did it, and I got there in order for you to be able to do it, but we not going to tell you that it's not going to be hard work. It's going to be hard as hell. It's going to take discipline. You're going to have people that root against you, that's around you, that said, no, man, just go out and buy that car. You're going to have to make sure that you don't do it the same way that everybody else is doing it. And it ain't no quick shortcuts. It's no shortcuts when it comes to building wealth. That's just flat out. It ain't no shortcuts, ain't no finesse. Even if you get a lump sum of money, you're going to throw it away because you don't know how to manage it, and it's a mindset. It's a way in which you got to go about doing it. That's why God don't allow for you to skip steps, because you got to get the lessons to go along the way. If you skip steps and then you come back and say, God gave it to me, then he going to be like, no, I ain't gave that to you because you don't even know what to do with it, and you're going to make me look bad as a result of it. Stop falling for this generational wealth term. It is stupid. It is dumb. Most millionaires are new millionaires. That is a fact. Most millionaires are immigrants, and they are new millionaires. 1,700 millionaires are made in the United States of America every single day. It is not being passed down. People that get it passed down, most of the time, they fumble it because they never had to go through the steps, or they never had to have I like to call it failing in a controlled environment that allows for them to be able to get the lessons. They never had to get it in the mailroom. Stop listening to people saying the term generational wealth. It is the dumbest term that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm not saying that people can't use it, but it's just such an easy term to finesse people. Anyways, let me get back to the story.
Make an investment and leave a legacy for your children and your children's children.
Ramo and Michelle Bay run iFlip Chicago, and if you have a little bit of money to invest, they claim to provide everything else you need to successfully flip a home, from the contractors to the funding.
We have over $30 million worth of rehab funding.
But according to 2 lawsuits, Ramo Bay allegedly lured inexperienced investors into signing up for
because ain't no real person that got money gonna be a part of this. We got over $30 million in rehab funding. What's the interest rates? How do you deploy the See, I can ask the real questions. All right, I tell y'all what. Get a coaching call. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com if you got something. I'm going to save you all your retirement that you're about to pull out, because I'm going to ask the pertinent questions that force you to start looking at things a little bit differently. See, I'm going to force you to start at, really. It's easy to finesse somebody that's uninformed because they don't know no better. You don't know nothing about what it is that you're supposed to be asking. You don't know no better. You ain't never did it before.
Predatory loans with him. The loans were cross-collateralized, meaning if Ramo fell behind on any other loans in his name, the iFlip investors he recruited would be responsible for paying his debt. As a result, nearly a dozen investors tell NBC.
All these people. Are these the ones? Are the people that y'all keep saying, no, black women are absolutely building wealth much faster. They get into the bag. They becoming bosses. They own their own businesses. They buying their own properties. Y'all getting finessed. Y'all getting finessed in every way, shape, and form. Y'all been getting finessed since the beginning of time. I can see them. I can look at them and tell them, oh, yeah, that's a finesse. That's a finesse. We got a sassy black man on there. His girl, or he decided that he wanted to get into it because his girlfriend probably said something, or his female friend that he in the friend zone probably told him to go ahead and jump in. All of these women look the same. They are literally the blueprint of how you finesse somebody. These are probably the same type of women that's making sure that Umar Johnson's school is going to get built within the next 30 years. Probably got some Derek Jackson books on a roster. Yeah, this is the blueprint. 100% blueprint. Absolutely. This looks like easily finessable people. 100%. We're going to do a class action law. You ain't getting no dime. You ain't getting no money. You ain't getting nothing back. Y'all going to get the same amount of money that y'all got from Jay Morrison. All return on your investment.
C5 responds they couldn't access the loan money they needed to finish their flips.
It's like getting in bed with the devil.
Every day I came in the game when I lost.
With the interest on their loans accumulating, these investors say they had no choice but to dip into their own funds to start renovating their properties. But there was another challenge.
It's falling apart.
You feel like this will snap at some point?
It's gonna snap.
The investors say the poor quality of work done by iFlip's contractors led each home to fail multiple city inspections.
Basically, everything that took place in our home was against the city code.
So wait a minute. Data flippers, they got data contractors, data financiers. Jesus Christ. Listen, I just dropped a video on the Patreon showing y'all my properties. Literally, I just did a whole walkthrough. I just dropped it yesterday. I did a whole walkthrough, built it from scratch, took y'all through the process. It's taken me over a year to do it properly. Every single inspection has been passed. No problems, no troubles, no issues. Certified real contractors. The guy that I work with, my architect and my contractor, I've been working with him for literally, he's been building homes for over 30 years. I had to pull him out of retirement in order to come and work for me. It's ways that you go and do things the right way. Anybody that's telling you that it's easy, I've gotten my kicked. I don't want to say the word on the Millionaire Morning Show. I've got my butt kicked. But I knew this going into it because I didn't know anything. And so he was basically there to hold my hand along the way, even though I spent more money than I thought that I was going to spend, but it was a learning lesson. And so the number one thing that y'all got to understand is this. If somebody is telling you that it's something good for you, then ask them how many of them have they done themselves. Because we call that minding your own business. It's almost like somebody that's a financial advisor telling you to invest in a stock, but they're not investing in it. Well, if it's so good, how come you're not doing it? Why you ain't doing it? Where's the homes that you flip? That's why I don't talk about stuff that I don't know. That's why I don't speak on things that I haven't already invested in. In order for me to give you advice on it, I don't talk about cryptocurrency because I'm not invested in cryptocurrency. Never get finessed like this. Never get finessed like this.
Raining in the room.
So almost all of the work completed had to be torn out and redone.
So I just took this drywall down. This is what's behind the wall. And I'm over $100,000 into this property.
Tiffany Brown was ultimately able to complete the renovation on her own. But Deshaun Carr and Miranda...
And who they selling that property to? Who gonna be the sucker? Because some sucker, and this again is one of the reasons why you need to get with a man or get with somebody that actually know what they're talking about. Go and get your home inspected. Look at certain things. Who is gonna be the person that get finessed with this property? That's all I want to know. Somebody gonna buy it. Some sap sucker or some woman is gonna be, oh man, I'm an independent woman. And they're gonna walk through and they're gonna see all of the nice finishes, but behind them walls, ain't no insulation. Behind them walls, plumbing is leaking, cold spot up here. It ain't raining, in a bad neighborhood. You ain't drove down there at nighttime to see what's really happening. It's gonna be a bad do for you. It's unfortunate too.
The Booker's properties ended up in foreclosure.
It's sitting here because nothing else could be done. Why? Because all of our funds had run out.
In a statement to NBC5 Response last month, Ramos said he and his clients were a victim of predatory lending and that language in the loans was never disclosed or explained at closing. But emails and documents obtained by NBC5 Response show Ramos signed up more than 20 iFlip investors for these loans. And he was repeatedly told his debts were being tacked on to other investors' loans. The lawsuits offer a possible motive for all of this. They accuse him of conspiring with the lender, Envision Funding, to profit off the pricey loan extension fees many investors paid to avoid
$10,000 a month? Wait. iFlip, Envision, and their associates coerced plaintiffs into signing. Do y'all read the contracts that y'all signed? Or y'all just be like, I got to get to it. Extension agreement, which cost $10,000 a month, and stated that they would not release any of the funds or draw requests unless such extension agreements were in force and effect. $10,000 a month? $10,000 a month is the cost of your extension agreement. What did y'all think was gonna happen? Y'all didn't run this by any of y'all people. Y'all didn't bring it to the bag chasers, bring it inside of the Patreon, drop it inside of the Discord. They say, hey guys, what do y'all think about this? We got a whole community of people that's experts on this that we can help you to make an informed decision as to whether or not this is a good idea or not. Jesus Christ.
defaulting on their loans.
I paid $95,000.
The extensions and everything was another $30,000.
Ramo denies that allegation, but his denials don't explain this. On Deshaun's closing paperwork from 2021, Ramo lists himself as a loan officer for Envision Funding.
He created a system that he can make money through the whole process without putting no money up and without no risk.
It's another strand of a web that has led more than a dozen iFlip investors into foreclosure.
This ain't just a bad situation. This was a scheme.
Last month,
That's all right, baby. We're going to fix that. You cute. You one of the cute ones. Let me see her again.
Closure.
This ain't just a bad.
Yeah, you'll be all right, though. Hard head make a soft what? Hard head make a soft what? But she one of the cute ones, so she'll be all right. She can get her a simp to come and save her. Come on over here. Listen, come sit on the black couch. Let's have a conversation. I got some paperwork for you to sign before you can get into the dough, because we don't need no false accusations over here at Don't Do Coke in the Bathroom Studios. But come on over. Come kick it with your boy. And we're going to have a conversation and figure out how we can get you out of this situation. Uncle Anton got some strings that I can pull. I got some loose cash that I'm sitting on. We can get that flip done. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Molly? Molly all up in her drink. She ain't even know it. Listen, girls got to get out. A cute girl got to get out of jail free card. Don't worry about that. iFlip took your money. We going to fix that. We going to fix that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's continue. I'm sorry. This is the end of the show. It's the end of the show, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. Listen, man, y'all are the greatest audience on earth. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest. I would never, ever, ever be where I am without you guys. All 1,700 plus of you guys that's in this right now, that's been here for the last 2 hours. All right, so we got a 2-hour show. Every day we back with it. Again, let me remind y'all of what's going on this week, because some of y'all don't be getting in here until you wake up later in the day. You know what I'm saying? This week is my 20-year anniversary, so I will be heading to an undisclosed location, but I will be doing a live stream on Thursday and Friday there. Tomorrow, same day as usual. Wednesday, there will be a premiere because I have a pre-recorded show that I'm going to be dropping for you guys, because I'm going to be on a plane to that undisclosed location. So everything just goes as normal. The only difference is that you're going to have a premiere on Wednesday. And then we got some new content dropping on the Anton Daniels channel. We got the Q show tonight, so that's going to be popping. And life is good. Life is good. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, y'all are the greatest on earth. I would never, ever do anything without y'all. Make sure y'all get the Tiege Hanley 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right? Okay? This is the greatest morning show on earth. And if you're not familiar, make sure you get familiar. Hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. And send this to your family and friends, because we don't want to be broke by ourselves. And we want to get y'all day started off right, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm about to jump into a meeting for corporate. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.